Shalom. All praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone, and salutations to all you sincere Akem. It's your brother Abawan back again with another video. You'll have to bear with me if I sound a little funny. I just woke up. Okay, so what I'm going to be, as you can clearly see from the background, you can clearly see from the video and from the title, we're going to be doing a little back to the basic. Okay, is drinking or consuming alcohol a sin? And basically what you have in the world is, especially in some Christian churches, is this false doctrine that has been spread that basically, the consuming or the drinking of alcohol is a sin. And of course, you get that from the whole Muslim theology, where they believe that drinking of alcohol, consuming alcohol, that is actually a sin. Which of course, you go into the word alcohol and you go into all the history and the etymology of it, and they use that as justification for why you should not drink alcohol. But the question isn't whether alcohol is, the question isn't what is in alcohol, or whether alcohol is, the question isn't what is in alcohol, or whether, or what alcohol means, or the various, histories or, Slovakia. I'm trying to elaborate, I'm trying to say it in a way that I'm trying to say it in a way, but in a way that, I can explain it, but, I'm just trying not getting the words. But basically, the problem with alcohol isn't in the whole semantics or the grammar surrounding it, the words surrounding it, or anything else, but what does the scriptures say about it? Okay, what does the scriptures say about drinking? What does the scriptures say about alcohol? And here you have this community post that popped up on my feed talking about, God's word about drinking. So I decided to just give it a little read, see what it says. Okay, and it had a video attached to it. Okay, which of course I just watched a little bit of the video just to get the idea of what this person is speaking of. Okay, and basically he's going into, why you should not be drinking alcohol, which of course, okay, I'm not going to be out here talking about, oh well, you have to drink, not going to sit here and be talking and say that you have to drink, or anything like that. Okay, but if you are in this truth as a Hebrew Israelite, as you should already know, when it comes the time for the Passover, okay, you have to drink. That's basically the only time you really have to drink anything. But as the scriptures say, we have to teach the doctrine of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai 100%, and teach the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay, and the truth is that you are to you can't drink wine if you want to. Okay, there is no law against the consumption of alcohol. So now the first precept he brings out is 1 Peter 4 verse 3. Okay, so let's go and do that. Let's follow through all these precepts and read them ourselves. Okay, and then of course we'll get all the precepts that prove that you can't drink wine. So this is the book of 1 Peter 4 verse 3, and it reads, "For the time past of our lives may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles, when we walked in lasciviousness, lusts, excess of wine, revelings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries." Okay, and it's going through all of the practices of the idols, of the heathen. Okay, or in other words, even in this time, the activities of the Babylonians. Okay, we already know what these people are about. Okay, and every word in this example right here from the Apostle Peter, it fits the average Babylonian to the T. Okay, showing you that we're still in the revised Roman Empire, we're still under the rulership and the captivity of the Romans. Okay, and of course, out of all these things, what he chose to focus on was the excess of wine. So we'll get this word excess of wine, which of course we should already know what it is going into. Okay, drunkenness, a lack of sobriety. So let's get that. Excess of wine, and the word is on your filiga, Onophlegia. Onophlegia.
Strong's G 3632. Oinophalugia. Oinophalugia.
And it's basically drunkenness, okay? And that is what the Apostle Peter is speaking about here, okay? If I said the Apostle Paul before, you have to bear with me, Salakia. But the Apostle Peter is speaking about drunkenness here and not the actual consumption of wine, okay? Because, you are allowed to consume wine in moderation, of course, not to the point where you get drunk on it, okay? And the reason why is because even as the scriptures say, let's get this one first, okay? The principal use for the whole of a man's life, right? Let's get that. The principal things for the use of a man's life, okay? The principal things for the whole use of a man's life. So this is the book of Ecclesiasticus 39, verse 26, and it reads, the principal things for the whole use of a man's life are water, fire, iron and salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil and clothing. Okay, and of course, the blood of the grape is actually going into wine. Okay, the fruits of the vine. I'm talking about in terms of the alcoholic wine, because that's the reason why you had grapevines, and the reason why basically what I'm looking for, you juiced the grapes. Okay, so let me get another precept, and just bring out another precept to just link up with that one. Okay, because the main reason I put out that precept is because of this precept right here. Drink a little wine for thy stomach's sake, right? For thy oft infirmities. So let's get that. So this is the book of 1 Timothy 5, verse 23. Drink no longer water, but use a little wine for thy stomach's sake and thine oft infirmities. Okay, of course, we should already know, that when it's going into wine, it's going into, an alcoholic drink, the alcoholic wine. Okay, the red wine that people are always drinking in this kingdom, because once again, there is no wickedness, or there is no sin in consuming or drinking alcohol. It's not as though alcohol is unclean unto you. When the Most High broke down the list and gave the list of things that are clean to eat, things that are unclean to eat, okay, alcohol was not a part of it. So now let's go to another precept that he brought out, going into the same thing, which is basically what is, let's go into some more. Okay, and it's all going into the same thing, okay, where he's basically trying to twist scriptures, okay, bring out twist precepts to try to make his point, when in all actuality they are not talking about, okay, they are talking about something completely different, okay. So let's get this one first. This is the book of Galatians 5, okay. Let's go to that. Galatians 5:19. That was the last one I had to bring out, just because I can't make this video too long. So this is the book of Galatians 5, verse 19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulation, wrath, strife, sedition, heresies, envying, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have told you in times past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Instead of telling our people, or telling people that consuming or drinking alcohol is a sin, you should be telling them that going to these clubs, okay, partying all night, that is a sin, because that's what reveling is going into, okay. Because all these parties that you celebrate in these, or rather all these parties that you go to this club, people are out here going to clubs every single night, okay. And you have situations where some people, they go to the club, and leave their little children, okay, especially these women out here, Eve, okay, the ostrich, right, go to the club, leave her little children at home, and eventually they perish, or they get missing because they leave the house. I think it happened to one of the brothers. The elder Malcolm was going into it, man. Okay, and it wasn't because the woman in that case, okay, in the elder Malcolm's case, went to the club or anything like that. She just left the house a little bit. The daughter managed to get out of her house and was just wandering around. And if not for a man of the Lord in that day, man, anything could have happened to her. But GMS is this and that, okay? Even returning little girls to their mothers, and yet, our people still have smoke for us. But anyway, or rather, smoke for your how about Shami or Shy. So this is the word for reveling, okay? Slacking, I was searching up, but this is the word for I don't think it was reveling. Let me just make sure, Slacking. Let me just make sure, okay? Okay, yes, reveling, and the word is komos.
Strong's G 2970. Komos.
So there you have it, komos, and it reads revel, a carousel, a nocturnal and riotous procession of half-drunken and frolicsome fellows who after supper parade through the streets with torches and music in honor of Bacchus or some other deity, and sing and play before houses of male and female friends, hence used generally of feasts and drinking parties that are practiced till late night and indulge in revelry. Jake over in Benjamin, basically, they have this procession called Bacchanalia. Okay, they have this party or this festival called Bacchanalia, which goes back to that Bacchus, because Bacchus is the god of reveling and partying. Bacchus or Dionysus is the god of reveling and partying in the ancient Greco-Roman Empire. Yes, they even had a god of partying, because when you talk about feast days, when you talk about parties in the scriptures, it must be done in righteousness. Okay, but anyway, let's get some more precepts. You also went into the book of Proverbs, the 30th chapter, and that's what everybody will use. Second of Proverbs, 30th chapter. So okay, Proverbs 31. Okay, so this is the book of Proverbs, and I'll start from verse 1. Proverbs 31, verse 1. The word of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him, what my son, and what the son of my womb, and what the son of my vows. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel, it is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes strong drinks, lest they drink and forget the law, and pervert the judgment of any that of the afflicted. Give strong drink unto him that is ready to perish, and wine unto those that be heavy of heart. Let him drink and forget his poverty, and remember his misery no more. So basically, by this argument, you should not be drinking wine because, okay, and basically, there's simply no argument here. You're just reading this precept and you want to use it as an excuse for why you should not drink wine, okay? But rather, what this is going into is what? Give not your strength, in other words. Don't, in other words, basically still the same thing as moderation, because in his third verse, it also speaks about women here. Give not your strength to women. Does that mean that a king is not supposed to marry, or that a king is not supposed to deal with women in any capacity? Okay, just because something has the risk of, disturbing you, or the risk of being a distraction unto you, especially in your path or in rulership as a king in this case, does not make it. It doesn't mean that you should completely abstain from it, okay? But anyway, let's just go into the precepts and bring out the precepts to show that, okay, wine is completely biblical and completely lawful to drink, okay? Which of course, after everything that we've gone through, everything that we've read, you should actually already know that. But sometimes, okay, sometimes you have to still, hammer that point home, okay? So let's get this. That should be in the book of where it is. Okay, so this is the book of Judges 9. I'll just start from verse 12. I'll get to the point. Judges 9, verse 12. And this is a parable right here. Okay, so Judges 9, verse 12. Then said the trees unto the vine, Come thou and reign over us. And the vine said unto them, Should I leave my wine, which cheereth the Most High, or rather, which cheereth the powers and men and man, and go to be promoted over the trees? Okay, and that's basically all I wanted to read right there, because we do know that, even with everything you say about alcohol and about wine, Jake loves, and people of the world as well. Okay, because just like the scripture said in the book of Proverbs, the 31st chapter, okay, give wine to him that perish. Okay, give wine to him that is poor, that he might forget his sorrow. Because, the Most High had set up alcohol, for people to consume and people to take it, and, basically it's your basic in order for people to take it and cheer up their spirits, because that's what wine does for you. Okay, if done in righteousness, if done in basically righteousness and moderation. Okay, that's why the scriptures tell you that, how's it go again, that let me get that, it is temperate in all things. And basically what that word temperate means is moderation. Okay, I'll get this one. First Corinthians 9, verse 25. And every man that striveth for the mastery of is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I not as one that beateth the air, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. And basically what this is telling you is that once again, okay, we have to practice sobriety and temperance in all things that you do, especially, and even in the consumption of different foods, because yeah, that you'll be because if you really want to go into it, there isn't really any food that is good for you if you take it in excess. Okay, you think food itself, okay, food that we need to survive, is healthy in excess. Okay, if you eat enough of it, it can cause all kinds of problems for you, or all kinds of sicknesses, the same way that alcohol does. And you see that, exposed, especially in the people of this world, especially in Babylon the Great, where you see people out here with, unbelievable, impossible amounts of fat, man. People are overweight, 400 pounds, 500 pounds. That's not even freaking possible, man. So fat that they can't even move. So fat that they are, to the point where they can't even see their own toes. Okay, what kind of, that's just showing you that, okay, as the scriptures say, be temperate, be temperate. Okay, in other words, practicing moderation in all things. Okay, and controlling, your consumption of the things that you take, or rather controlling the consumption of things that you eat and put in your body. Okay, but let me just get this as well. Let's focus on, showing that it is lawful to drink alcohol, because that is the main point of this lesson. Okay, because the scriptures also say in in the book of Hebrews, I believe, or in the New Testament, okay, that no man should be judged for meat or for drink, or for his own observing of the law, which is a shadow of things to come. Not meaning that, oh well, you don't have to keep the law anymore, but so long as you are keeping the law to the best of your ability, and you have some laws that you fail to follow, but you're still following how about showing righteousness and sincerity, and your faith is still showing through your works. Nobody is going to be out here accusing you of not following a law, especially if they know you can't keep it, man. But anyway, let's read on. you know um, let's go to this. Okay, this is the main point I'm actually wanting to get, because people always talk about how, well, alcohol is a sin, alcohol is a sin, alcohol is a sin. But who do you think brewed the first drink? Who do you think fermented the first grapes and drank of alcohol? Our forefather Noah, whom the Most High Yahweh Basham Yahushai had delivered. And in order to celebrate his deliverance, what do you think he did? So let's get that. So this Let's start from, maybe it should be in verse 8, or I think it should be in verse like, yeah, I meant maybe it should be in verse 9. If it's not here, okay, so it should be in verse 9. It should be in verse 9. And this is a good chapter right here, which of course all the precepts, all the words of the Bible, are good, but this is really going into some deep stuff. Okay. So this is the book of Genesis 9, verse 20, and it reads, And Noah began to be an husbandman, and he planted a vineyard, and he drank of the wine and was drunken, and he was uncovered within his tent. Okay, and there you have it. This is the scriptures telling you that Noah brought, because they did have alcohol before the flood, and Noah brought it back, after the flood, drunk of it, and even to the point of getting drunk, which of course, Ebu said this, that he went off there overdoing it, but that's the spirit on him, because he was in a spirit of celebration, because the Most High had delivered him, from the destruction, from the heavy judgment, which is that death by the flood, man. Okay, we're continuing on. Genesis 9, verse 21. And he drank the wine and was drunken, and he was uncovered within his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brethren without. And Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon both their shoulders, and went backward and covered the nakedness of their father, and their faces were backward, and they saw not their father's nakedness. And Noah awoke from his wine, and knew what his younger son had done to him. Okay, and basically when when he became sober, and this is showing you, where or who, brewed the first or made the first alcoholic drink and consumed it. Okay, so this is of course scriptural. This is scriptural, and it is lawful, because if it were not, the Most High would have rebuked Noah for his actions, but he didn't. Okay, and that's the main point. Why would Noah bring something that is wicked from the old world? Okay, bring something that is wicked from the deluge, the flood, from the times of the flood into the times after the flood, because you should already know why the flood even came through. Okay, why the flood? Let me see what I can get that. You should already know why the flood actually happened. Okay, and it was because of. So let's get that. Let me see what I can bring that out. That should be Genesis 7. Let's start from here. So this is the book of Genesis 6, verse 1. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of the Most High, or the sons of the powers, saw the daughter of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And Yahweh said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bare children unto them. The same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. And God saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only continually evil. Was evil continually. So okay. And it repented Yahweh that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. Okay, and that's clearly showing you why the flood came, to destroy man, because the Most High was pissed, very angry at the actions and the wicked actions of the men on the earth. So those wicked actions did not include the consumption of alcohol. Okay, and even couldn't find what I was looking for. So with that, all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahawashai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash, Wa Abad Papa, and through the Spirit of you are came and you are quite edified. Shalom.